The night sky was a canvas of terror as the Zorathi warships descended upon Earth, their enormous, blackened hulls casting ominous shadows over major cities. Panic erupted across the globe as broadcasts were interrupted by a chilling proclamation from the Zorathi Emperor himself, an alien of towering stature with scales that shimmered in iridescent hues. "People of Earth," the Emperor's voice boomed, "you have been chosen for subjugation. Surrender now, and your lives will be spared." Governments scrambled to respond. In Washington, D.C., President Robert Mitchell convened an emergency meeting with the United Nations, urging calm and unity. Meanwhile, in Beijing, Premier Jiang sought counsel with his military advisors, contemplating a response. Most of the world's leaders leaned towards capitulation, their fear outweighing their courage. But not everyone was ready to surrender. In a hidden underground bunker outside of Berlin, General Jonathan Harrison, a seasoned war hero with a reputation for unyielding resolve, watched the Zorathi broadcast with a grim expression. Beside him stood Dr. Emily Carter, a brilliant scientist specializing in xenotechnology, whose research had been ignored by many but would soon become humanity's lifeline. "We can't just roll over," Harrison muttered, his jaw clenched. "If we do, they'll break us." Dr. Carter nodded, her mind already racing with ideas. "We need to understand their technology, find their weaknesses. We have to fight back." The Resistance's first meeting took place in a repurposed Cold War bunker, its walls lined with outdated maps and dusty equipment. Around the table sat a diverse group: Major Elena Vasquez, a tactical genius from Spain; Captain David Thompson, an American pilot with nerves of steel; and Li Wei, a cyber warfare expert from China. Each brought unique skills and a shared determination to fight for Earth's freedom. "We need to strike a blow that shows we're not going to be cowed," Harrison declared, his voice steady. "Something bold, something unexpected." Dr. Carter stepped forward, displaying a holographic projection of a Zorathi command ship. "This is our target," she said, pointing to a weak spot in the ship's armor. "If we can get a small team inside, we can plant explosives and cripple their operations. It's risky, but it could give us the edge we need." The room buzzed with a mix of excitement and apprehension. Major Vasquez spoke up, her eyes sharp with resolve. "I can lead the ground team. We'll need the best soldiers and the element of surprise." Captain Thompson grinned. "I'll get us there. They won't see us coming." The plan was set in motion. The Resistance worked tirelessly, preparing for their audacious strike. Engineers modified existing military hardware with salvaged alien technology, creating hybrid weapons capable of piercing Zorathi defenses. Soldiers trained in simulated environments, honing their skills for the upcoming mission. Finally, the day came. Under the cover of night, a small stealth ship carrying Vasquez, Thompson, and a hand-picked team of elite soldiers launched from a hidden base in the Alps. The tension was palpable as they approached the towering Zorathi command ship, its dark hull looming like a harbinger of doom. "We're in position," Thompson whispered over the comms, his hands steady on the controls. Vasquez led her team through a series of daring maneuvers, bypassing security drones and electronic surveillance. They planted the explosives deep within the ship's core, working swiftly and silently. As they made their escape, the timer ticked down. Moments later, a massive explosion rocked the night sky. The Zorathi command ship, once a symbol of invincibility, was now a burning wreck, falling from the heavens in a cascade of fire and debris. The Resistance had struck their first blow, and the world watched in awe as the message spread. Humanity would not go quietly into subjugation. The fight had just begun. General Harrison and Dr. Carter, now fully committed to their roles as leaders of the Resistance, orchestrated their next move. Using the momentum from their initial victory, they aimed to disrupt Zorathi operations on a larger scale. Their target, a Zorathi supply depot on the outskirts of Cairo, a critical node in the aliens' logistics network. Gathering intelligence from various sources, including hacked Zorathi communications and reconnaissance drones, the Resistance crafted a meticulous plan. A multi-pronged assault would be required, combining ground forces with aerial support. The element of surprise remained their greatest advantage, In a hidden base beneath the Sahara Desert, the resistance forces prepared for the mission. Teams checked their weapons, fine-tuned their equipment, and reviewed their objectives. Major Elena Vasquez, fresh from her success on the command ship mission, briefed her squad on the plan. "We hit them hard and fast," she said, her voice calm but intense. "Our primary objective is to destroy the depot and disrupt their supply lines. Secondary objective, gather any intel we can find. Stay sharp, stay focused, and we'll make it out in one piece." Captain David Thompson, piloting a heavily modified stealth bomber, would lead the aerial assault. His ship, equipped with advanced alien cloaking technology, would provide cover and support for the ground troops. The resistance had managed to incorporate the Zorathi's own technology against them, creating a formidable hybrid arsenal. As the sun set over the desert, the mission commenced. Thompson's bomber soared silently across the sky, evading Zorathi radar. On the ground, Vasquez and her team approached the depot, moving swiftly through the shadows. The depot, heavily guarded by Zorathi soldiers and automated turrets, loomed ahead. Thompson's voice crackled over the comms. "Ground team, in position, beginning aerial assault." Explosions lit up the night as Thompson's bomber unleashed a barrage of precision strikes, taking out key defensive positions. The ground team surged forward, engaging in fierce combat with the surprised Zorathi forces. Vasquez led the charge, her tactical acumen evident in every maneuver. Inside the depot, chaos reigned. The resistance soldiers moved methodically, planting charges on key infrastructure points. Dr. Carter, remotely guiding the team from the command center, monitored their progress and provided real-time intel. Her expertise in xenotechnology proved invaluable, as she identified critical targets for demolition. The battle intensified, with Zorathi reinforcements arriving in waves. The resistance held their ground, utilizing their superior tactics and knowledge of the terrain. Vasquez's team encountered heavy resistance near the main storage area, where vital supplies and equipment were housed. "Hold the line," Vasquez shouted, rallying her troops. "We can't let them retake this position." Amidst the chaos, a young soldier named Amir, a local who had joined the resistance after his family was killed in the invasion, managed to hack into the depot's mainframe. He downloaded valuable data, including troop movements and supply routes, before planting the final charge. The victory at the Cairo supply depot marked a turning point in the war against the Zorathi. The successful mission not only crippled the enemy's logistics, but also sent a powerful message to the rest of humanity. People around the world began to rally behind the resistance, inspired by their courage and determination. In the wake of the depot's destruction, nations that had previously surrendered or remained passive started to reconsider their stance. General Harrison seized this opportunity to unite the fragmented human forces under a single banner. He reached out to military leaders, government officials, and influential figures from around the globe, advocating for a coordinated global resistance. A summit was convened in a secure location in the Swiss Alps. Representatives from every continent gathered to discuss the formation of the United Earth Defense Force, UEDF. The atmosphere was tense, filled with a mix of hope, skepticism, and urgency. "Today, we stand at a crossroads," General Harrison addressed the assembly, his voice resonating with authority. "The Zorathi seek to divide and conquer us, but we will not let them. We must unite as one global force if we are to stand a chance of reclaiming our planet." Dr. Carter presented the intelligence gathered from the depot raid, highlighting the vulnerabilities of the Zorathi and the potential strategies for future operations. Her detailed analysis convinced many skeptics of the feasibility of organized resistance. As the summit progressed, heated debates gave way to a growing consensus. Leaders from diverse backgrounds and ideologies began to see the necessity of cooperation. Former enemies shook hands, and rival nations agreed to set aside their differences for the greater good. The formation of the UEDF marked a new chapter in the fight against the Zorathi. Command structures were established, resources were pooled, and joint training exercises commenced. The UEDF's command center, hidden deep within the Rocky Mountains, became the nerve center for global resistance operations. Under General Harrison's leadership, the UEDF launched a series of coordinated strikes against Zorathi positions worldwide. These operations ranged from sabotage missions in the dense jungles of South America to full-scale assaults in the urban landscapes of Europe and Asia. Each victory, no matter how small, bolstered human morale and weakened the Zorathi grip on Earth. In Tokyo, a team led by Captain Aiko Tanaka successfully liberated a Zorathi-held power plant, restoring electricity to millions and demonstrating the effectiveness of joint operations. In Nigeria, Major Oluwaseun Adeyemi coordinated a daring raid on a Zorathi outpost, securing vital supplies and rallying local resistance fighters. As the UEDF grew in strength and cohesion, so did their impact. The Zorathi, unaccustomed to such organized and relentless opposition, began to show signs of strain. Their supply lines were disrupted, their communication networks compromised, and their foothold on Earth steadily weakened. The United Front not only strengthened humanity's military capabilities, but also fostered a renewed sense of global solidarity. People from all walks of life contributed to the war effort, from scientists developing new technologies to ordinary citizens providing support and intelligence. The spirit of resistance permeated every corner of the globe. The first target of this grand offensive was a series of Zorathi fortifications along the European front. These fortifications formed a critical line of defense for the Zorathi, protecting their central command hub in Paris. The UEDF's objective was to break through these defenses, thereby destabilizing the Zorathi's stronghold in Europe. In a hidden base beneath the Swiss Alps, UEDF forces gathered for the final briefing. Soldiers and commanders alike listened intently as General Harrison outlined the operation, codenamed Operation Dawnbreaker. "Our goal is simple," Harrison said, his voice unwavering. "We will strike at the heart of the Zorathi defenses, disrupt their operations, and reclaim our cities. This is our moment to turn the tide." Dr. Emily Carter, who had been tirelessly working on deciphering Zorathi technology, introduced a new weapon developed from salvaged alien tech, the EMP cannon. This weapon, capable of disabling Zorathi energy shields and rendering their advanced machinery inert, would play a crucial role in the offensive. On the night of the assault, UEDF forces moved into position under the cover of darkness. Tanks, armored vehicles, and infantry units spread out across the European countryside, ready to strike. Above, squadrons of modified stealth fighters, piloted by the best aviators humanity had to offer, patrolled the skies. Captain Aiko Tanaka, leading a team of elite soldiers, spearheaded the ground assault. They moved silently through the ruins of old towns and villages, navigating minefields and avoiding patrols. As they approached the first fortification, Tanaka signaled her team to halt. "Prepare the EMP cannon," she whispered, her eyes fixed on the massive energy shield protecting the Zorathi fortress. The cannon fired with a low hum, and a pulse of electromagnetic energy shot towards the shield. Moments later, the shield flickered and then collapsed. The UEDF forces launched their attack, storming the fortress with a ferocity that caught the Zorathi off guard. Explosions and gunfire filled the air as human and alien forces clashed in brutal combat. The battle raged for hours, with UEDF forces steadily pushing the Zorathi back. The EMP cannons proved invaluable, neutralizing the enemy's technological advantage and leveling the playing field. Tanaka's team moved from one stronghold to the next, dismantling defenses and capturing key positions. In the skies above, Captain David Thompson led a squadron of fighters in dogfights against Zorathi aerial units. The modified stealth fighters, equipped with advanced cloaking devices and enhanced weaponry, outmaneuvered the enemy and provided crucial air support for the ground troops. In the aftermath of the counteroffensive, as the UEDF consolidated their gains and prepared for the next phase of the campaign, an unexpected development occurred. During a routine patrol in the outskirts of Paris, a UEDF recon team stumbled upon a hidden enclave of alien refugees. These aliens, known as the Thalorans, had been living in secret on Earth, hiding from the Zorathi who had conquered their homeworld many years ago. The Thalorans were a technologically advanced race, with a deep knowledge of Zorathi's strategies and weaknesses. General Harrison and Dr. Carter, intrigued by the potential of these newfound allies, arranged a meeting with the Thaloran leader, an elder named Talrek. Talrek, a dignified figure with a calm demeanor, greeted them warmly in a secure location within the UEDF headquarters. "We have watched your struggle against the Zorathi," Talrek began, his voice resonant and filled with wisdom. "We see in you the same spirit of resistance that once burned in our hearts. We wish to offer our aid." Dr. Carter leaned forward, her interest piqued. "What kind of assistance can you provide?" Talrek gestured to his companions, who brought forward various pieces of advanced technology. "We possess knowledge of Zorathi systems and tactics. Our technology, though ancient by their standards, can still provide a significant advantage. We also have warriors skilled in guerrilla warfare who can join your ranks." Harrison nodded thoughtfully. "We could use every bit of help we can get, but why now? Why reveal yourselves after all this time?" Talrek's expression turned somber. "We had hoped to avoid further conflict, but we see now that hiding is no longer an option. The Zorathi must be stopped, and we believe that your people have the strength to do it." With the Thalorans joining their cause, the UEDF gained a significant boost in both technological prowess and manpower. Thaloran engineers collaborated with Dr. Carter and her team, integrating their advanced systems into UEDF weaponry and defenses. Their warriors, trained in stealth and close-quarters combat, blended seamlessly into UEDF operations. One of the first joint missions with the Thalorans was a raid on a Zorathi communication hub in the heart of Paris. The objective was to disrupt the enemy's command and control network, further crippling their ability to coordinate defenses. Leading the mission was Major Elena Vasquez, who had formed a strong bond with the Thaloran warriors. Alongside her was Talrek's daughter, Liara, a skilled fighter with an intimate knowledge of Zorathi tactics. As they approached the communication hub, Vasquez briefed her team. "This is a high-risk operation, but if we succeed, we can blind the Zorathi and give ourselves a major advantage. Remember, we're not alone in this. Trust in our new allies." The team infiltrated the facility under the cover of night, using Thaloran cloaking devices to evade detection. Inside, they encountered heavy resistance, but the combination of human and Thaloran tactics proved overwhelming. Liara's knowledge of Zorathi systems allowed them to quickly disable security measures and access the main control room. With explosives planted and data retrieved, the team made their escape just as the facility erupted in a series of explosions. The successful raid dealt a significant blow to the Zorathi and showcased the power of the new alliance. In secret meetings, Reynolds gathered a group of like-minded individuals, including high-ranking officers and influential civilians. They formed a faction within the UEDF, advocating for a negotiated peace that would secure humanity's survival, even if it meant living under Zorathi rule. Reynolds saw himself as the one who could broker this deal, elevating his own status in the process. One evening, as General Harrison and Dr. Carter were finalizing plans for their next offensive, Reynolds made his move. He and his loyalists stormed the command center, weapons drawn. The room erupted into chaos as soldiers loyal to Harrison clashed with the coup plotters. "Harrison, this madness has to stop," Reynolds shouted over the din, his eyes burning with intensity. "We can't win this war. Negotiation is our only hope." General Harrison, maintaining his composure, replied firmly, "Surrendering to the Zorathi is not an option. They won't spare us, they'll enslave us. We fight for our freedom, and that means no negotiations." Before Reynolds could respond, the sound of gunfire intensified. Loyal UEDF soldiers, led by Major Vasquez and Captain Thompson, fought their way into the command center. A fierce battle ensued, but eventually the coup plotters were overpowered and disarmed. Reynolds, realizing his failure, tried to flee, but was apprehended by Thompson. "You've betrayed everything we stand for," Thompson said, restraining him. "You'll face justice for this." With the betrayal behind them and the UEDF united once more, it was time to execute a bold and risky plan. Dr. Carter, using intelligence gathered from the Thalorans and previous missions, proposed an infiltration of the Zorathi mothership orbiting Earth. The mothership was the heart of Zorathi operations, and sabotaging it could turn the tide of the war. General Harrison approved the plan, recognizing its potential to deliver a crippling blow to the Zorathi. A select team was assembled for the mission, consisting of the best soldiers and Thaloran allies. Leading the team was Major Vasquez, with Liara as her second-in-command. The team trained intensively, rehearsing their approach and infiltration tactics. Dr. Carter developed specialized equipment for the mission, including advanced cloaking devices and hacking tools. Captain Thompson would pilot the stealth ship that would transport the team to the mothership. On the night of the mission, the team boarded the stealth ship with a mix of excitement and trepidation. Thompson navigated through the vast Zorathi fleet, evading patrols and automated defenses with expert precision. As they neared the mothership, the ship's cloaking device activated, rendering them invisible to Zorathi sensors. "We're in position," Thompson whispered over the comms, his hands steady on the controls. "Infiltration team, prepare for deployment." The team exited the stealth ship and entered the mothership through a maintenance hatch. Inside, they moved with practiced precision, avoiding detection and neutralizing guards silently. The corridors of the mothership were vast and labyrinthine, filled with advanced technology and alien architecture. Liara led the way, using her intimate knowledge of Zorathi design to guide them to the central control room. Along the way, they encountered numerous challenges, from automated security drones to heavily armed patrols. Each obstacle was overcome through a combination of human ingenuity and Thaloran expertise. As they neared the control room, the team split into two groups. Vasquez's group would plant explosives on critical systems, while Liara's group would hack into the mainframe to gather valuable intelligence and disrupt communications. The control room was heavily guarded, but the team executed their plan with precision. Vasquez and her soldiers engaged the guards in a fierce firefight, providing cover for Liara and the hackers. The sound of gunfire and explosions echoed through the corridors as they fought their way through. Liara, working quickly, breached the mainframe and began downloading data. "We've got what we need," she announced, her fingers flying over the controls. "Now let's blow this place and get out." The team regrouped and made their way back to the extraction point, setting off the explosives as they went. The mothership shook with the force of the detonations, systems failing and alarms blaring. Thompson, waiting in the stealth ship, activated the cloaking device and prepared for a hasty retreat. As the team boarded the ship, Vasquez signaled Thompson, "Mission accomplished. Let's get out of here." General Harrison, buoyed by the recent victories, called for a comprehensive assault plan. The objective was to liberate key cities worldwide and dismantle the remaining Zorathi strongholds. The UEDF's newfound momentum needed to be sustained to maintain the pressure on the Zorathi. In the war room, maps and holograms displayed the next targets: London, Moscow, and Beijing. Each city had been heavily fortified by the Zorathi, serving as critical hubs for their operations on Earth. Coordinated strikes would be essential to ensure the simultaneous liberation of these key locations. "Operation Rising Phoenix," Harrison announced to his assembled commanders, "is our next step. We'll hit them where it hurts and take back our cities. Remember, our ultimate goal is not just to win battles, but to reclaim our planet." Teams were deployed, each led by seasoned officers. Major Vasquez was tasked with liberating London, Captain Thompson would lead the assault on Moscow, and Major Oluwaseun Adeyemi was assigned to Beijing. Each team incorporated Thaloran warriors and utilized the latest hybrid technologies developed by Dr. Carter and her team. In London, Vasquez's team launched a pre-dawn raid on Zorathi fortifications. The city, shrouded in mist, became a battlefield as UEDF forces clashed with Zorathi soldiers in the narrow streets and ancient buildings. Vasquez led her troops with determination, pushing through enemy lines and reclaiming strategic points. The battle for Moscow saw Captain Thompson utilizing aerial superiority to decimate Zorathi defenses. His squadron of stealth bombers and fighter jets rained destruction from above, while ground forces moved in to secure the city. The harsh Russian winter added another layer of challenge, but the UEDF pressed on, undeterred. In Beijing, Major Adeyemi coordinated a multifaceted assault, involving guerrilla tactics and high-tech warfare. Utilizing the city's dense urban environment, his team navigated through alleys and high-rises, outmaneuvering the Zorathi at every turn. The Thaloran warriors, experts in close-quarters combat, proved invaluable in these skirmishes. Each battle was hard-fought and bloody, but the determination of the UEDF and their allies could not be quelled. One by one, the cities were liberated. The Zorathi, struggling to regroup, faced mounting losses and dwindling resources. General Harrison and his top strategists spent weeks planning the assault. They knew this battle would be unlike any other. New York's dense urban landscape, combined with the Zorathi's advanced fortifications, posed significant challenges. The UEDF needed to execute a flawless operation to ensure victory. New York is the key, Harrison addressed his commanders. If we take the city, we break the back of the Zorathi occupation. This will be our hardest fight yet, but it will also be our greatest triumph. The plan involved a multi-phase assault, starting with a large-scale bombardment to weaken the Zorathi defenses. This would be followed by coordinated ground attacks from multiple entry points, with special forces units targeting key enemy installations. Captain David Thompson was tasked with leading the initial aerial assault. His squadron of modified stealth bombers would deliver a series of precision strikes on the Zorathi's outer defenses, paving the way for the ground forces. Major Vasquez and her team, including Thaloran allies, would lead the charge from the south, while Major Adeyemi's forces would attack from the north. On the eve of the battle, UEDF forces gathered on the outskirts of the city, their resolve unshaken despite the enormity of the task ahead. Soldiers checked their weapons, shared words of encouragement, and steeled themselves for the fight to come. At dawn, the assault began. Thompson's bombers soared through the sky, unleashing a torrent of missiles and laser strikes on the Zorathi fortifications. Explosions rocked the city, shattering the once impenetrable defenses and creating breaches for the ground forces to exploit. Vasquez led her troops into the fray, advancing through the rubble-strewn streets with determination. The Zorathi, caught off guard by the intensity of the assault, struggled to mount an effective defense. Urban warfare ensued, with fierce firefights erupting in the city's iconic landmarks and towering skyscrapers. Adeyemi's forces, advancing from the north, encountered heavy resistance near Central Park. Utilizing the natural terrain and the cover provided by the dense foliage, they engaged the Zorathi in brutal close-quarters combat. Thaloran warriors, with their superior agility and combat skills, played a crucial role in turning the tide. As the battle raged, the UEDF's special forces targeted key Zorathi installations, including communication hubs and power generators. These strategic strikes further crippled the enemy's ability to coordinate their defenses. Dr. Carter, monitoring the battle from the command center, provided real-time intelligence and support, ensuring the UEDF forces maintained their advantage. Hours turned into days as the battle for New York continued. The city became a war zone, with every street and building contested. Casualties mounted on both sides, but the UEDF's resolve never wavered. Slowly but surely, they gained ground, pushing the Zorathi back. In a final desperate push, Vasquez and her team stormed the Zorathi command center located in the heart of Manhattan. The battle inside was fierce, with Zorathi elite guards fighting to the last. Vasquez, displaying exceptional bravery and tactical prowess, led her team to victory, capturing the command center and effectively ending the Zorathi's hold on the city. As the last remnants of the Zorathi forces were driven out, the battle-weary soldiers of the UEDF stood victorious. New York City, though scarred and battered, was liberated. The defeat of the Zorathi in one of Earth's greatest cities marked a turning point in the war, signaling the beginning of the end for the alien occupation. The sight of the UEDF flag raised over the ruins of the Zorathi command center filled hearts with hope and pride. Humanity had faced the abyss and emerged triumphant, ready to reclaim their world and shape their own destiny. As the UEDF regrouped and tended to their wounded, intelligence reports indicated that the Zorathi were fortifying their last stronghold in Antarctica. This base was the epicenter of their operations on Earth, housing their command and control center, as well as the portal they used to bring reinforcements from their homeworld. The decision was made. The UEDF would launch a final, all-out assault on the Antarctic stronghold. The operation, codenamed Final Dawn, would be the ultimate test of humanity's resolve and resilience. General Harrison addressed the UEDF forces in a global broadcast. His face, weathered by the trials of war, was filled with determination. "This is it, soldiers, the last stand. We have fought bravely and sacrificed much to reach this point. Now, we must give everything we have to ensure our victory and reclaim our world." Special Forces units were selected for the mission, including veterans from previous key battles. Major Vasquez, Captain Thompson, and Major Adeyemi were among those chosen to lead the charge. Thaloran allies, deeply committed to the cause, joined them in what would be the most dangerous mission yet. The journey to Antarctica was fraught with peril. UEDF transport ships escorted by fighter jets braved the harsh conditions and Zorathi air patrols. As they neared the enemy stronghold, the skies filled with the sounds of battle. Zorathi anti-aircraft fire and swarms of alien fighters greeted the UEDF forces. Captain Thompson, leading the aerial assault, expertly maneuvered his squadron through the barrage. "Stay focused, everyone," he commanded. "We have to clear the skies for the ground forces." On the ground, Major Vasquez's team disembarked and advanced towards the fortress under heavy fire. The freezing temperatures and treacherous terrain added to the challenge. Soldiers trudged through snow and ice, their breath visible in the frigid air, as they pressed on towards their objective. Inside the fortress, the Zorathi commander, a ruthless and cunning tactician named Commander Zalrath, had prepared for this moment. He unleashed waves of Zorathi soldiers, including elite guards and war machines, to repel the human invaders. The battle that ensued was intense and chaotic, with the UEDF forces engaging in brutal close-quarters combat. Major Adeyemi led his team through a series of tunnels beneath the fortress, aiming to disable the portal. They faced fierce resistance, but their determination and tactical prowess carried them through. Explosives were planted on key structural points, and Adeyemi set the timers with a grim smile. "For Earth," he muttered. Above ground, Major Vasquez and her soldiers fought their way to the command center. They encountered Commander Zalrath and his guards in a fierce showdown. Vasquez, showing exceptional valor, engaged Zalrath in combat, ultimately overcoming the formidable foe through sheer grit and determination. With the destruction of the Antarctic stronghold and the collapse of the portal, the Zorathi's ability to bring reinforcements to Earth was severed. The remaining Zorathi forces, scattered and leaderless, posed a significantly reduced threat. The UEDF, sensing the end was near, prepared for a final sweeping offensive to eradicate the remnants of the Zorathi occupation. General Harrison and Dr. Carter worked tirelessly to coordinate the global effort. The strategy involved simultaneous strikes on remaining Zorathi outposts and installations across the planet. The goal was clear: eliminate any surviving enemy units and ensure they could never regroup or threaten humanity again. The UEDF mobilized every available resource. Newly recruited soldiers inspired by the recent victories joined the ranks. Engineers and scientists, including Thaloran allies, developed new tactics and weapons to ensure the success of the final push. Communities worldwide provided support, from logistics and medical aid to intelligence gathering. The first target was a Zorathi base hidden deep within the Amazon rainforest. Major Vasquez, leading an elite team, navigated through the dense jungle. Utilizing both human and Thaloran technology, they executed a surprise attack, neutralizing the base with minimal casualties. Simultaneously, Captain Thompson's aerial squadron conducted precision strikes on Zorathi facilities in the Sahara Desert. The combination of advanced cloaking devices and superior piloting skills allowed them to bypass enemy defenses and deliver devastating blows. In the mountains of the Himalayas, Major Adeyemi's unit faced harsh conditions and treacherous terrain to reach a Zorathi research facility. The mission was critical, as the facility housed experimental weapons that could have posed a significant threat. Despite the challenges, Adeyemi's team succeeded in infiltrating and destroying the facility. As each mission concluded successfully, the Zorathi's presence on Earth dwindled. The UEDF, bolstered by their achievements, pressed on relentlessly. In Europe, Asia, Africa, and the Americas, coordinated operations continued to dismantle the remaining Zorathi infrastructure. In the final days of the campaign, a massive operation was launched to clear the Pacific Ocean of Zorathi underwater bases. Submarines and amphibious assault teams, equipped with the latest technology, engaged in a series of intense battles beneath the waves. The operation, though challenging, ultimately succeeded, eradicating the last significant Zorathi stronghold. With the Zorathi forces on Earth effectively neutralized, the UEDF declared victory. The war, which had brought so much destruction and loss, was finally over. General Harrison addressed the world in a broadcast, his voice filled with a mix of relief and determination. "Today we celebrate our victory," he said, "but we must also remember the sacrifices made to achieve it. We stand united, stronger than ever, and ready to rebuild our world. Let this be a new dawn for humanity, one of peace, resilience, and unity." Around the globe, celebrations erupted as people embraced their newfound freedom. The sight of UEDF soldiers returning home, greeted as heroes, filled hearts with hope. The Thaloran allies, who had fought bravely alongside humanity, were honored and welcomed as friends. Dr. Carter, reflecting on the journey, spoke to a gathering of UEDF leaders and Thaloran representatives. "We've proven that even in the face of overwhelming odds, humanity's spirit cannot be broken. Together, we have achieved the impossible. Now, it's time to heal and build a future where such a threat can never arise again." With the Zorathi forces eradicated from Earth, the world began to take its first steps towards recovery. The streets, once filled with the sounds of battle, were now bustling with activity as people returned to their homes and communities began the long process of rebuilding. General Harrison stood atop the ruins of the former Zorathi Command Center in New York, now being repurposed as a memorial site. The weight of the past year's battles seemed to lift slightly as he watched volunteers, both human and Thaloran, work side by side. The cooperation and unity that had developed during the war had not faded. Instead, it had grown stronger. Dr. Emily Carter was at the forefront of the reconstruction efforts. Her expertise in xenotechnology, once used to fight, was now being repurposed to rebuild. She coordinated with Thaloran engineers to incorporate advanced alien technology into infrastructure projects, creating more resilient and sustainable cities. The United Earth Defense Force, UEDF, was restructured to focus on peacekeeping and disaster response, ensuring that the lessons learned from the war were not forgotten. Veterans like Major Vasquez and Major Adiemi played crucial roles in this transition, their leadership and experience invaluable in training the next generation of defenders. In a ceremony held in Washington, D.C., leaders from around the world gathered to commemorate the fallen and honor the heroes of the war. Statues and plaques were unveiled, bearing the names of those who had sacrificed their lives for the freedom of Earth. The mood was somber, but hopeful, a reminder of the price of victory and the promise of a brighter future. General Harrison addressed the crowd, his voice steady and filled with emotion. "Today, we remember those who gave everything for our freedom. We honor their memory by building a world worthy of their sacrifice. Let us never forget the unity and strength that brought us victory, and let us carry it forward as we rebuild." Among the attendees were Talrek and Liara, representing the Thaloran people. Their presence was a powerful symbol of the alliance that had been forged in the fires of war. Talrek spoke of the shared future between humans and Thalorans, emphasizing cooperation and mutual respect. "The bond we have formed is unbreakable," Talrek said. "Together, we have faced the greatest of challenges and emerged victorious. Let us continue to work together, not just as allies, but as friends." As cities were rebuilt and societies began to heal, a new spirit of global cooperation emerged. International organizations focused on humanitarian aid, environmental restoration, and technological advancement. The horrors of war had given way to a renewed commitment to peace and progress. Dr. Carter's research led to groundbreaking advancements in medicine, energy, and transportation, all derived from the alien technology left behind by the Zorathi. These innovations, shared freely among nations, helped to accelerate the rebuilding process and improve the quality of life for millions. In the years following the war, Earth underwent a transformation. Cities like New York, Tokyo, and Moscow became hubs of innovation and culture, their skylines dotted with advanced structures that combined human and Thaloran design. The scars of battle were gradually replaced by symbols of hope and renewal.